I am or you are. What is better to put in front of your affirmative statements? So there are actually 4 main ways to read your affirmations, to put in front of your affirmations. So the most traditional, most common way is the I am. There's the sacred I am what I am. So I am this, and it creates whatever reality you want to say afterwards. So I am joyful, I am loving, I am wonderful. It creates that as a reality for you using the word I am. But there's also the word you are. So some people wonder, is it I am is better or is you are better? But I'll tell you, there's a couple more you could do too. One is we are. We are. You create more of a collective affirmation when you say we are. And the 4th way to do it is to do it by saying your name. So you could say Dustin is, joyful, loving, caring, whatever it is you want to affirm. So there's 4 main ways, but which way is the best way to do it for you? Now, this is more of an art, as much of an art as it is a science. I'll give you some of the background knowledge that I have on it. But before I do that, I'm going to say, do it whatever way you want to and try it out. It's not like you're starting a business that you're going to be working on for the next 3 years and should I do I am or you are and I have to make a decision now. Do both. Try both. Try I am loving, caring, and joyful. You are loving, caring, and joyful. We are loving, caring, and joyful. Dustin is loving, caring, and joyful, right? Say all 4 of them if you want and just see what fits best for you, what's right for you. You don't need to analyze it or think about it too much. Just try it out. But I'll tell you based on some of the experience I've had. I've studied hypnotherapy. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and some of the things that we learned sort of about this. So what we learned generally was if someone is more extroverted or they are more in, let's say they get their energy from people, they're more extroverted, they feed off the words of affirmation, they feed off the energy when speaking to people, they like to be complimented, right? So if they have those kinds of characteristics, generally speaking, generally the I am is going to be a stronger way of saying their affirmations. Why is that? Well, so there was a book I read, it's right there, and what happens is, they say that if a child grew up and it could trust the word of its favorite parent, so its parent would say things like, it says, if you do your homework, you're going to go get ice cream today, and then you would go get ice cream today, you began to learn to trust people at their word. So what happened was they would take the words as direct emotions. Meaning if someone said something to them, they would feel it right away because they learned they could trust people at their word, and the words equaled emotion, almost an instant feeling of emotion. Whereas you have other people who, let's say the parent said didn't give the ice cream, you do your homework, I'll give you ice cream, and they did their homework but they didn't get ice cream, they began to form a disconnect. They began to not trust people at their word. So these people will generally take more time. So if someone says a compliment or says something to them, they need to think about it. They need to analyze it. They need to really decipher the situation. They don't just accept people for what they say. They don't accept people at their word. So they've inherently learned that people are not necessarily, not that they're not trustworthy, but they're a little bit harder to predict or figure out. So they're going to be a little more introverted. They may be even a little more career focused because they've learned through career systems they can have a predictable way, a predictable method of reaching an outcome. Whereas people, that's a little bit unpredictable, right? So the first group of people, the more extroverted, and again, I'm talking very generally speaking, okay? This is not like an exact science. This is just from a book that we studied. But the first people, they generally have a more of a sense of identity of I am. Meaning if they use the word I am or even you are, they're going to get that feeling even more. So if they say I am or you are, they're going to generate that feeling in themselves more. Whereas the other person who learned to not quite trust people at their word, they may be better by saying their name. So they don't associate in their mind, again, this is kind of vague terms, but associate in their mind of them as the I. They like to see, like if we're doing a visualization with them, it's sometimes better to be an observer in their mind, and they're observing themselves doing something, as if they're the third person watching themselves do the thing. So they may enjoy an affirmation where it says their name is whatever versus I am whatever. So I hope that kind of makes sense. So with that kind of person, you might say Dustin is loving, caring, and joyful if I'm a more extroverted person versus I am loving, caring, and joyful, because then my mind might not quite believe it. So that goes to the second tip. So if you are if you say I am, and this is why I said to try it out for yourself, right? If you say I am XYZ, I'm whatever, and you're not really believing it, you could try you are. Or you can almost listen to an audio where someone else is telling you are. Sometimes we don't want to believe the greatness within ourselves by repeating it to ourselves, and we just may have a block about it. So if we hear someone else's voice or someone saying, you are awesome, you are powerful, you are loving, you may be more inclined to believe it versus hearing I am. So again, it's going to be one of those things where you try out the different ones to see. Now, as far as we are, I like using that one too, but I might use it more in the context if I'm part of a team and I want to generate a certain belief or energy about our team. I'll say we are, but I'll also include an I am or a you are or a Dustin is statement in there as well, because I want to create the we are, but I also want to create it for myself. And I'm part of the we, but I like to create it for myself as well. So that's why I say try all the different ones out. Use the different ones, because again, this is more of an art than it is a science. And for one person, I am might work. For one person, you are might work. For one person, the third person might work. So try different ones out and see what works best for you. Don't necessarily listen to someone say, oh, it has to be this way, it has to be this way. Just try different ones out, because at the end of the day, you know what you feel the most. You know your body the most. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I hope it wasn't too confusing. Let me know in the comments below. Do you prefer I am, you are, third person, or we are? And also subscribe to our channel to get more affirmation tips and listen to our wonderful affirmation audios.